convinced her that the ghouls were definitely on the loose once more. Felicity's father's locksmith bag, slung over her shoulder, clanked as the bicycle zigzagged between the stands.
So, here I am being your personal chauffeur again, and suddenly you're all, "Oh, Felicity, mind that cat. Oh, Felicity, you're going too fast. Oh, Felicity, maybe we should stop for a minute to admire the stars."
I just don't want us to end up splattered against a wall so they have to clean us off the bricks with a flipping hose pipe, Molly shouted as the bicycle bumped along. Look out! The girls ducked under the lethally sharp wrought iron sign that jutted from outside Gribley's television repair shop.
"If I were you,"
Felicity shouted,
"I'd be more worried about what your mum's gonna do to you when she finds out you've sneaked out of the house because you've had yet another mad notion that the ghouls are back."
Molly flushed with dread. If Mum found out that Molly was disobeying her, she'd never trust her again. It would break their already fragile relationship in a way that Molly didn't think she'd be able to fix. Down, down the bike plummeted, past the first of the two junctions that cut across Long Alley. Then up, up the bike surged, past the second. Flying over the junction, Molly glanced left, and for a brief, impossible moment, she thought she spotted the Grim Reaper drifting towards the northern entrance to the Memorial Garden, heading in the same direction as Felicity and Molly, towards Mr. Wetherill, who, she'd learned that evening, had been admitted to the infirmary.
"You've gone quiet,"
shouted Felicity.
"Have you died?"
Molly opened her eyes. She let go of Felicity and pulled her plastic Dracula mask over her face to block out the blasting wind. Ahead, a mocking moon leered down at the vast basin of the Ethel Hale Valley. She said simply, "Go faster." Chapter 2. Girls or Ghouls. 11 minutes before the explosion in Howlfair Infirmary, a nurse was doing the rounds. It was nearly 10 o'clock, and most of the patients in the Genevieve Waitley ward were asleep. One or two were half dozing, nodding into books or magazines by the glow of their bedside lamps. Light from the corridor hazed through small windows and gave Mrs. Marrable in the end bed a spectral radiance. Moments after the nurse departed, Wallace Wetherill thought he heard his name being called from the enclosed garden at the back of the ward. The former werewolf hunter sat up with a gasp. Fear played a minor key glockenspiel solo on his spine. He'd been searching for a gang of missing ghouls for 2 months and had found nothing, but he'd often had the sensation, as he trudged around the lonely places of his town, of being secretly observed. Perhaps tonight the ghouls had decided to come for him. Well, despite his injuries, he wasn't going to go down without a fight. "Fight?" an old, familiar voice in his head sneered. "You're a coward, not a fighter, a lily-livered cur, a caitiff, a—" The giant scarecrow-like man sighed and climbed out of bed, his joints wheezing like antique hydraulics. A cow-like snore from Mrs. Marrable made Wallace Wetherill wobble. "See, you're spineless, Wallace. I've seen more backbone in a ripe banana." "Well, this is one ripe banana who isn't going to be eaten by ghouls," he said gruffly. "Huh?" said Elsie Turner in a nearby bed. "Go back to sleep, Elsie," coughed Wetherill. "You're dreaming." Shuffling painfully to the window, he reached inside his peach-coloured floral dressing gown and drew forth a pair of small antique muskets loaded with ghoul fire pellets. He handled them carefully, reminding himself what would happen if he accidentally squeezed the triggers. Half his fellow patients would be set ablaze in a screaming blast of sulphur, and, at the very least, the other half would be freed from the burden of eyebrows.